Hi everyone and welcome to The Networks. I'm Gareth Spence. Service providers are taking a close look at the edge of the network right now. The growing surge in demand for high-performance enterprise connectivity is creating whole new revenue opportunities. But to effectively seize this potential, service providers need a flexible infrastructure that can scale without huge costs. So how can they do this? Are traditional single-appliance routers up to the job, or do service providers need something else? To give me some answers, I'm joined by Adtran's Brian Van Voorhis. Brian, why are we talking about this now? What's changed in the industry?
We're at this moment where a lot of the traditional appliance-based edge routers are reaching their end of life across the industry, and that's a big issue in terms of security. In fact, we're seeing flashes from the FBI cyber division about warning users about operating on end-of-life enterprise routers. So that's a big impetus for change. From the telco side, they're continuing to face a rapid increase in the bandwidth demand from enterprises. More than 60% of the enterprise DIA services turning up now are in the multi-gig to 10 gig range. And so that's also stressing a lot of the equipment that's already in place because it's not able to keep up. And then you have the challenge of revenue. Revenues are flat for a lot of our customers or the telco providers. And so they're looking for a way to not only keep up with the demands, but also find a way to accelerate revenue out of it. So you add those up, and the economics of service delivery are really shifting.
Why have service providers been slow to adopt edge cloud and UCP solutions in the past?
Well, going back, let's say 5, 6, 7 years ago, I think a lot of the telcos wanted to make this move into using general purpose hardware and virtualized routing applications, for example, on the edge. But it needed to make sense. It needed to make sense from a cost standpoint. The performance needed to be not just as good as the appliance, but actually better. And we always felt that if a package could be put together that was economical, was simple and practical to step in, and had the performance gains that they were looking for, that this would be a logical entry point in and really a winner in the marketplace. And that's the point that we feel we're at right now.
What makes Adtran's Ensemble Cloudlet vRouter different from those earlier solutions?
Well, we like to say it provides the simplicity of a traditional appliance, but with the intelligence of a cloud-native platform. So we have a simple subscription model, and this covers the software on the server, the vRouting application, and the cloud-hosted management of the network. And so this provides the zero-touch provisioning, so that eliminates need for technical skills on site to turn them up. The routing technology is enabled through a partnership that we have with 6Wind. So it is a high performance and high capability enterprise class edge router that we're providing this. And all of this is orchestrated and coordinated through Ensemble's Edge View, which is, again, a cloud-hosted centralized point of control. So it's a complete package that makes this very simple to step into on a single scale up to thousands of endpoints.
You mentioned that vRouter is made up of several parts. How do they all work together?
Sure. So Adtran provides the vRouter servers, and we have a couple of options for customers to pick from. These are very high-performance platforms. We also provide the centralized cloud orchestration that manages not just the zero-touch, but the entire deployment lifecycle. Now, the zero-touch is important because that means we ship a server that's loaded with software but unconfigured for that end site. So once that device authenticates, then it's loaded with the configuration that's selected for that site. We support 10 gig interfaces, 2.5 gig interfaces. We have PON interfaces available, 5G interfaces. So it really gives you this multi-WAN capability at the edge.
Brian, you're discussing this solution with a lot of service providers at the moment. Which applications are they showing the most interest in?
Well, it's interesting. Direct internet access is probably one of the leading ones. So especially a multi-WAN DIA type service, one that couples PON with 5G or fixed Ethernet with PON, providing that high availability guarantee. And Gareth, the DIA services with a managed router is a very attractive business. It runs in the 1K to 3K a month in terms of service revenue. So if you're able to grow your business there, it's a very significant impact.
How does this solution deliver higher performance at a lower price compared to traditional single-appliance routers?
We're at this interesting point where high-volume general-purpose server hardware has really upped its performance. And you couple that with virtualized routing capabilities, and the routing technology that we're using is designed to operate in a cloud environment. So unlike a lot of appliance-based routers that may be counting on hardware acceleration, this routing technology was developed to run in the cloud. So you couple that with very high-performance hardware, and you've got a high-performance edge routing platform, and couple that with the cloud-hosted management. It means it's really cost-effective to start at small quantities. You can start with as few as one endpoint and scale as you grow with high performance and zero touch.
You've mentioned zero-touch deployments a few times in our conversation. How important is this for service providers, and what does it look like in practice?
It's critical, and many of our customers actually contract out their installation services, and so they're working with local contractors, and these may be people who aren't always touching the equipment or who may not have security clearances to log into the equipment. So you really want to make this as simple as you can. And so in the case of the Cloudlet vRouter, the server ships out. It can ship directly from Adtran to the end site or through our customer's warehouse. But the point is, no pre-configuration is needed. You don't need to open up the box. The unit is going to power up. It's going to automatically reach out to the Ensemble Edge View. It's going to authenticate and identify itself. And then Edge View pushes down that site's actual service configuration. All of that does a couple of things. First of all, it speeds the installation. It collapses the whole process down to minutes. And then the second thing is it eliminates errors. It ensures a consistent deployment across multiple sites. It's really a click and repeat kind of deployment methodology.
How does the solution scale as service providers grow?
Well, when we talk about scale, so first of all, there's scale in the servers themselves. We're starting with 1 gig service routers who are cost optimized for the lower bandwidth options. From the same platform, we also manage 8-core 10 gig router applications, and they provide multiple 10 gig interfaces. And they also provide additional compute resources. So you can not only offer your edge routing application, but you can also host other applications like firewall applications or Ubuntu VMs where you're selling IT workload hosting capability. So there's scale in terms of the endpoints that go out, but there's also scale in the terms of how many endpoints you're deploying. And so with this model we have, it's truly possible for providers to start with a single site, a couple of sites, and knowing that they're operating on an infrastructure that allows them to go to thousands of sites or even tens of thousands of sites. So that pay-as-you-grow model really makes it practical to step into this.
Brian, final question. How do you see Ensemble Cloudlet vRouter evolving from here?
In two areas, one in the hardware and second in the software itself. So in the hardware side, we're already working on larger platforms that incorporate larger numbers of 10 gig interfaces and multiples of 25 gig interfaces. So that's happening on the hardware side. And on the software side, we're working with our partner 6Wind, especially in the areas of routing protocols, pushing into IPv6 enabled routing protocols like SRv6, and we're finding a lot of interest in the market in enabling that kind of network transition.
And that's everything for today's show. If you'd like to know more about the topics we discussed, please reach out on our social media channels. Until next time, thanks for listening.